Welcome to this episode of Eureka, and we are taking you to Kanpur. We are at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, one of the topmost engineering institute in India. And in this COVID special Eureka, we are going to have a very wonderful, enlightening, informative conversation with Dr. Abhay Karantikar, who is the director of IIT Kanpur,
Namaskar.
about some of the technologies that they are developing to tackle this pandemic COVID-19. Sir, thank you for this great opportunity. It's a very wonderful occasion to meet you. Your institute has come up with very, very interesting engineering ideas to tackle not only engineering, but also science application to tackle this pandemic. Although the medical professionals and health professionals are the frontline workers, the administrators are taking a huge effort to contain this pandemic. The importance of scientific input or technological input to tackle this is no less important. So let me start with this first question that you have developed a ventilator. And ventilators with regard to this COVID-19, particularly respiratory disease, is a huge challenge. And in fact, I mean, people are saying that if we beef up our ventilator capacity in India, it's not just only for the current pandemic, but we are faced with the respiratory issues in this country. So actually, we are improving the health infrastructure in India. I mean, it's in a kind of blessing in disguise. So let me start with this. What is special about your ventilator? What is this effort that you took?
So I think let me just first mention, I mean, since in the beginning you said that scientists have responded to address the, lot of problems during the COVID-19 pandemic. So in this context, I must say that scientists of IIT Kanpur, which includes the faculty members, researchers, research scholars, and our startups companies, and particularly our startups and incubating companies, in the last 3 months have really responded to the call and have risen to this occasion. And so I must first of all compliment this. This is really not my efforts. These are really the efforts of our faculty scientists and the incubating companies. So regarding this ventilator, so it was led by Professor Amitabha Bandyopadhyay in our institute. Mm-hmm. And this was, in the March when, this COVID-19 situation was worsening. Particularly, it was worsening more in the US and Europe, and it has hit India. Professor Bandyopadhyay and his team believed that India would need, a large number of invasive ventilators, which have to be particularly competitive with the imported products and also affordable, because, tier 2, tier 3 hospitals, they should be able to afford those ventilators. And with that objectives, this problem was put up. And I'm very happy to mention that Noka Robotics, which was our incubating company, which was actually at that time developing, waterless solar panel cleaning robots. Okay. So they came forward. They were very young, enthusiastic entrepreneurs, with Nikhil Kurele and his team. And they said, they are really ready to take up this challenge. And then, we put together a team of very experienced corporate leaders, some of whom are our IIT Kanpur alumni of the likes of Dr. Saurabh Srivastav, who was, the founder of the NASSCOM and a serial entrepreneur earlier and now an investor and a very known industry veteran. Then we have the likes of Ajay Chaudhary, who is the, founder of HCL, and then Shrikant Shastri, and then, a large number of very experienced medical professionals, which included, doctors and critical care specialists. So we put together kind of a consortium which included our incubating companies, our faculty members, and this team of experienced medical professionals. And then, we set out to design these mechanical invasive ventilators, which actually meets all the technical specifications which were given by the Government of India, the Ministry of Health, for the hospitals to meet those specifications, for the ventilators to meet those specifications. So within a period of 90 days, we had the product, which is state of the art, and it was being tested in the ICU settings in several hospitals in Pune, and then we gave the demonstrations in other hospitals also. Now, this is a very state-of-the-art ventilators. It meets, in March, for example, the ventilators mostly were all imported from the likes of, known medical multinational company like GE and Philips, these the likes of them. And I'm very happy to report that today, as we stand, there are, apart from IIT Kanpur's consortiums, there are two other or three other Indian startups which have joined hands with other Indian industries to manufacture the ventilators in the country. And this is really very significant. It is a state-of-the-art ventilators with IoT enabled and a lot of other, features. So
very interesting. I just need to ask two clarification. The one is while you were speaking, you mentioned, but I thought one should underline that when you develop medical equipments, it's not like an engineering product you develop in your design center and then just make it and sell it, but you need to actually test it in hospitals to see that whether it is effective with patients, right? So that's something that you wanted to.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, it went through the very rigorous trials because, other medical equipments are fine, but this ventilator will work on a critically ill patient in the ICU. So it is even more important. And this has been tested on critically ill patients in the ICU, and it has worked extremely well. So it has gone through, and before we put it on the patient, it has to go through a very, very rigorous, testing. So it cannot be, put to testing on the patient first, before it is, really. The doctors are really satisfied that this is a device that they can really use.
The second point that you also mentioned is that in addition to IIT Kanpur, there are a few more, but they're all actually now in the market. They are being actually utilized in various places. That's a
point. So is the IIT Kanpur thing. In fact, it is now getting manufactured. We actually also have signed up an MOU with the defense public sector undertakings, Bharat Dynamics. And also, the Noka Robotics, also for small orders, it is also getting it manufactured. So it is being used in hospitals across the country, in fact.
Because many people have this mistaken conception that Indian scientific institutions produce prototype and then they just remain in the institution's exhibition. That's it. I mean, it's not actually put to use in the. That's a kind of, many people have the perception, which you say that is very wrong. I mean, it's actually being utilized perhaps in many places. It's actually saving people right now, right?
Yes. No, it is actually what you are saying is true. And in fact, that is the reason I told you that I would like to first narrate the story of the ventilators, because it is true that in a university setup, and that is true not just for IIT Kanpur, but for other universities also, and also other research labs, scientists can actually develop the proof of concepts, prototypes. They can demonstrate the technology. But ultimately, it has to be taken to the market by industry, by some startup, and through licensing or commercializations. And that's the gap which is missing in the country. But in the case of ventilator, when we started on the project, right from the beginning, and that is the reason we set up this consortium, which included the incubating companies, the team of faculty, Professor Bandyopadhyay and his team from the IIT Kanpur side, and a team of very experienced corporate leaders, investors, and the medical professionals. And this worked in a very wonderful fashion, particularly during the lockdown, and produced a product which is now getting manufactured and produced by a company. And they have their own, network in the country. And we have also tied up with the public sector undertakings for large orders from the government. So this is how, the product can be taken to the market. And I think this is really key.
Very important, successful story. And also very important input into this whole pandemic. And as I was mentioning, that it's not just only for this pandemic. Respiratory disease in temperate climate like ours is a huge challenge. So even beyond pandemic, this kind of ventilators are useful in India.
Absolutely. Actually, now, what is happening is that, even tier, and also not only they are useful, but I would say that in the tier 2 and tier 3 hospitals are also now getting equipped with the ICU. With the increase in the number of respiratory diseases and the cardiovascular diseases in the country, there is increasingly a need of ICU setups in the hospitals, and the ICU setups actually require, many medical equipments. One of them is, of course, the ventilators. And what was happening is that, some of these hospitals were not able to afford, or they are not able to afford such devices because the imported ones, really are very, very expensive. So there is really a need to develop, competitive, cost-effective these medical devices in our country.
That's an important point. From that, let me move to your another innovation, which is a positive pressure respiratory system as an alternative to N95.
Yeah.
If you look at the Indian statistics, some people from Tamil Nadu were just mentioning to me that while the death rate among ordinary public is around 1.73, the death rate among frontline medical workers is close to about 11%. And because of the viral load, they are hugely challenged. We need a good, mask. So how does this positive pressure respiratory system actually work? What does that positive pressure actually mean?
Yeah, so basically, this was again developed by one of our mechanical engineering Professor Nachiketa Tiwari. And this was developed in collaborations with SGPGI Lucknow. So a few doctors were also involved there, particularly Professor Devendra Gupta, who is the in charge of the ICU. There was SGPGI. He was involved in working with Professor Nachiketa Tiwari. And it relies on the positive pressure to stop the entry of the contaminated air in that device. Of course, by the way, I'm not any experts on these systems, but I know that it works on the positive pressure to stop the entry of the contaminated air. And these are therefore considered safer alternatives to these N95 respirators because it provides uncontaminated air. And therefore, it can isolate, the doctors and the health professionals from exposure to the virus. And this is a device which can be built, fairly quickly. It is actually in that sense, it is a simple to follow, simple to develop and manufacture device. And I think this can also be manufactured. But right now, of course, few prototypes were developed and they are being tested in the hospitals. This has not gone to that commercial scale as our ventilators. But I think this was also one attempt, for the healthcare workers.
Yeah. I think this is a time we will take a very short break. We have had a very wonderful conversation, a lot of interesting stuff.
Sure.
Keep watching Eureka. We'll take a very short break. After the break, we are going to talk about one very important activity that IIT Kanpur is embarked on, trying to develop a vaccine and many others. Keep watching Eureka. After the break, we'll continue this conversation. Welcome back to Eureka. We were having a very wonderful, very enlightening conversation with Dr. Abhay Karandikar. He is the director of Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Sir, before the break, we were talking about the positive pressure mask respiratory system that you have developed. which not only again in COVID situation, but also in many other infectious diseases, which are very important. Similarly, you talked about ventilators, which is actually on the market, actually being utilized, actually will equip the second tier and third tier hospitals affordable. Let's go to another area, which is a very huge, important challenge, which is vaccine. Although there are hundreds of vaccines which are developed, everybody knows that only if you fly many kites, one of them will actually survive. So nobody knows which one is going to work, because it's a very complex development. Usually, why vaccines takes a decade to develop, but we need now faster. So people are trying with multiple ideas. So can you tell us about what is the route that you are taking? There are many kinds of vaccine possible. So what is the vaccine that you are trying to look at?
Yeah, so I think first of all, as you rightly said, that a vaccine development is a long haul process. But we do have in-house expertise in IIT Kanpur, in the sense that some of our faculty, like Professor Dibyendu Das of the Department of Biosciences and Bioengineering, were part of the team which has worked on the Ebola vaccine when he was in the US. Okay. So they have the prior, experience of, part of the teams for developing such vaccines. And in that directions, therefore, we are making the efforts. But I think while moving towards development of vaccine, he and his team have done a lot of fundamental research to ascertain how this coronavirus is entering human cells. Okay, what is their impact? And in fact, in that process, they also have recently developed that how this COVID-19 test for COVID-19 can be done in a faster way. And some preliminary tests were done with the CSIR lab in Lucknow also. So some efforts are being going on. So I would say that right now it is more at the research stage, and whether this research which ultimately will lead to development of vaccine or not, and as you rightly said, we don't know which kite will ultimately fly. But I'm very confident that the faculty expertise that we have with their research will certainly improve, enhancing our understanding of how this virus is functioning and how it is entering the human cells and their interactions. And this research can definitely throw light and help in vaccine developments or drug developments, or even, even in treatment. Because as you know that in COVID-19 now new research is coming up. People don't even know that whether it affects the lungs. Sometimes now new researches are coming that it is even affecting the kidney functions or the heart functions and things like this. Yeah. So even that understanding is missing, that how the coronavirus is entering human cells, how it is interacting with human cells, and what organs and other things it is affecting. So this understanding is also very important. And recently, he and his team have done some research and are in the process of publishing them. So even that will help in the vaccine development.
See, another important development that your institute has done is the SaniWalk. Yeah. Sanitation tunnel kind of arrangement. Yeah. On that, I want to start with this question that sometime back, WHO had issued a advisory, but we should avoid such kind of sanitation tunnel spraying chemicals on human being. So yeah. How does your SaniWalk differ? I mean, from that advisory?
This has been found safer for external human use. It really depends upon what kind of chemical spray are being used. I mean, I know that some of the spray are not considered safe. Yeah. And to the extent that these chemicals are considered safe for these disinfectant chambers can be used. But obviously, if it is shown that these chemicals are not safe, then obviously these disinfectant chambers,
need to be
are not are not recommended. So it really depends upon what kind of chemicals or what is the exposure time limits, for how much you are getting exposed. It is something like this, you are going through an X-ray machines. Even if you get exposed for a longer time, it is obviously harmful. So exposure time, and in this disinfected chambers, that is what I was saying, it is more an intelligent chamber. Everything is electronically controlled, exposure time, the temperature of the person, etc. So if you do with the precision electronics, then, I believe that it could be safe. So it really needs to be done with precision.
That's a very interesting point. Of course, we need to look at the SANIWOC, how exactly we should use, where we should use, what kind of chemical, both safe and efficacy, all that we need to put in. But perhaps there are areas where such kind of a thing would become important, maybe not everywhere. That's a point. But then let's talk about the whole body kit that your institution has developed. So what does that whole body kit contain?
Yeah. So I think this is a kind of a PPP kit, and this was developed. So basically, this was developed using a material like, almost like a plastic material, polyethylene. And the idea there was that we could develop again a low cost alternatives to the PPP kits. Okay. And with that, intention, it's what's particularly designed. And in fact, the faculty members who were involved, and they were like Professor Nitin Gupta and Professor Ram Kumar and others who were involved, they had really made the design open source, that it is available to now large number of manufacturers who were earlier developing the polythene bags and other things. So they can actually adopt that design and develop. We believe that these we need now large number of such protective kits for. So there are various levels of. There are ICU specialists and critical care specialists, doctors and paramedic staff who are working in the ICU. This kit cannot be used for them. It is not recommended for them who are, for example, intubating a, critically ill patient and things like this, and they have a, very direct exposure there. So it is not recommended for them. It is recommended for, let's say, security personnel who is, cleaning workers who are actually are working in the hospitals. Even if they are not in the COVID ward, actually there is some level of exposure even in the non-COVID wards. And our large number of security personnel who are posted in the hospitals or outsides, or who are like the frontline workers. So, otherwise, for these, we really need these low cost alternatives to the PPP kits. And that is what, it has been developed with a very low cost material like polyethylene, and which was developed into the PPP kit. There is a similar efforts, which is one of our incubating company, that is eSpin Nanotech is doing, which is on developing the N95 masks. Okay. And in fact, that is a nano fiber based N95 mask. And we have set up on the eSpin Nanotech have set up on IIT Kanpur campus now a full manufacturing plant, which is producing 25,000 masks every day, N95
25,000 masks every day. Good.
Yes. And these PPP kits and all, now the design has been given to manufacturers, and they are actually manufacturing all across the country. In fact, our faculty like Professor Nitin Gupta and his team has been providing actually design expertise and help in terms of how it should be manufactured, but they are not manufacturing really here. So that is again a product which is getting manufactured and which is getting by these frontline workers, not necessarily ICU specialist doctors or paramedic staff who are working in COVID-19 wards, but others.
Very, very important point. We don't have much time, but then this is an important point to deliberate upon. in the recent past, given the kind of international situation and the domestic needs, the ideas like Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, I mean, basically, some or other ensure that the manufacturing production in within the country also develops. Although you are not going to close completely imports, wherever possible, find alternatives because then it becomes affordable. Otherwise, in a country like us, it is not feasible. So, from this experience of your experience during this COVID, which has actually forced most of us to run fast so that we are able to tackle. What are the pointers that we get to achieve some of these broader goals even beyond pandemic?
Yeah, I think you have rightly said. In fact, our Honorable Prime Minister also has talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat, and which means, making the country really technologically self-reliant, that we develop the product indigenously. Our experience of last 3 or 4 months was that there is a lot of talent in the country. In fact, our team of Noka Robotics, which produced the ventilator, they are all young entrepreneurs, young engineers. So there is a lot of talent in the country that needs to be harnessed. And our ventilator experience shows that if that team can be mentored by experienced leaders and scientists and institutions like IITs, which are institutions of national importance, if they play the role of a catalyst in these efforts of helping the young entrepreneurs and young students, etc., with the help of our experienced alumni and all, I'm sure we should be able to develop any technology. And this is really the right time, not just in the case of medical technology or the healthcare sectors, but almost in all other technologies, be it the telecommunications, be it the information and communications, ICT technologies, be it in the semiconductors or electronics, or be it in the manufacturing sectors. So I believe that this will really has increased our confidence of the country's confidence that we can do it, because not only just IIT Kanpur but many other institutions, other IITs, other companies really rose to the occasion and has demonstrated that. So I think it has really shown that it increased the country's confidence that we can do it, and I think this is really the right time to. And I think institutes like IITs and universities can really partner with the entrepreneurs and industry. So more closer industry academia relations will really expedite the development of such indigenous technology.
Thank you, sir. It was a very, very wonderful conversation we had with you, and thank you for sparing us time. Keep watching Eureka. We will come back with another interesting conversation next week, same time.
Thank you.